Hey guys, Adon Shaw here. So this will be my first video in a series, and it's going to be what we can learn from, and I'm going to choose different fighters that we can all take something from, and maybe learn something from them and add it to our own training and fighting. Today's Yodsanklai, so well known for how technical he is, and that ridiculously powerful left kick that he's got. What I want you to focus on in this fight is how simple he manages to keep it. You never really see him getting into a war, but when Yodsanklai is at his best, he's not engaging in a war because he doesn't have to. He's got the skills to just snipe you from the outside and then score points with that big strong left kick. There are better fights that I could have chosen where he's just whitewashing somebody, just with that, those kicks and just smashing him into oblivion. But in this fight, it's against Sabar Askarov, and they knew each other quite well. They came through the Contender Muay Thai series like years before this, and obviously they've stayed pretty close. So Sabar knew enough to be able to kind of work around Yodsanklai, but you'll still see just how effective it is, just keeping it simple. The most that you'll see Yodsanklai throw is a jab, a lead hook, a straight left, and a left kick. That's pretty much his arsenal. Now, this is a multi-stadium champion. He's been world champion however many times. Beat some amazing fighters. Sabar, is a beast himself. He's strong, ferocious boxing. And I wouldn't have thought that he'd be scared of Yodsanklai either. He doesn't really seem like a guy that gets intimidated by people. So yeah, you can see Yodsanklai just, there's times when Sabar would love to make Yod fight at a higher pace, but it's so difficult to get Yodsanklai to do that. He defends really well, and then there you go, just use that jab to set up the kick, and that's pretty much what you'll see. When you see Yod at his best, that's what he's doing. This is a kickboxing fight. This isn't even Muay Thai, where Yod is dangerous in Muay Thai, but you can still see his base skill set, or what his main things are in a kickboxing fight. And of course, he's forced to mix it up a little bit more than he normally would. But look at that. Yodsanklai's bag work, I would imagine, would be just jab and kick, jab, kick, for thousands and thousands and thousands of reps. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get like that. Just repetition. Now, some people thrive in the fights where they're in a war, they're trading elbows and whatever. Yodsanklai, you'll never really see it, especially in the fights where during this time where he's just smashing everybody. He fought a little bit longer than he probably should have. So if you look at the end of his career, that is, he had kind of slowed down a little bit. And there were times when he fought way above his weight. Yodsanklai is a very small 70 kilo fighter, but I think he fought Artur Kashenko like maybe even 80 kilos. Someone, if you know, then just put it in the comments. So yeah, I'm making this series now. I just think it'll be a fun one to do, because pretty much everyone that's elite, you can take something from them. So yeah, if there's something that you're interested in, then please consider subscribing. See, just keeping it really simple over and over again. Oh. It's about as much of like Yodsanklai, he's obviously, I've said he's, well established, elite level, international opponents, everything. But so he can kick from his right leg and he can teep and whatever. But that's not what he's great at. He doesn't, like I say, he doesn't mix it up much because he's so good at doing what he does. I mean, that kick is ridiculous. I'll just show you that again. Look, just gets it from the full extension of his jab, which then tells him that he's in range to land with his shin. But then he almost jumps into the kick, so just look out for it. The power and the torque that he must be able to get into that is unbelievable. When I used to fight in Max Muay Thai, like years ago now, we used to finish our camps at the Fairtex gym in Pattaya. It's like a whole resort of it, it's a big hotel with a Muay Thai gym inside. And they had Yodsanklais like trophy collection and his belt collection on the wall down there. And man, it was huge, the amount of things that he'd got. Seriously, like, great fighter in his day. I mean, I'd heard things that, like, he wasn't the, very hard training and whatever, and he didn't used to diet very well and whatever, but, I mean, it's not easy to stay motivated, he probably had the best part of 500 fights, and, he was beating everybody at the time, so where's the motivation? If you look at his fights before he fought Kem Sitsongpeenong, it seemed like he was fed up, and then he did the fight against Kem, and he seemed to be excited about fighting again. So I think this is just after that. But yeah, look, I mean, Jabba loves to get in these wars and whatever, but Yodsanklai not really having any of it. It's a great skill to have. Like, Yodsanklai is the one that's like, dictating the ring and stuff, but Jabbar's the one that would want to be going faster and whatever. He can bring it to him, but Yodsanklai is just outscoring him. He's making, because Jabba's having to work all that amount, working off his back foot and moving around, and he throws very high energy strikes, and because he's doing that, it's he's very fit, but Yodsanklai is saving energy, and Jabbar's having to work that extra bit harder. It's like when you see like a squash player, like they'll take like the central tee and they'll be able to stand pretty much in the middle of the court and make the other guy run around, and that's what happens when you do what Yod's doing and taking control of the ring. And he uses that jab to set up the kick, and then sometimes he'll bring like a right hook. So someone's walking into that right hook, and it's just so that he can kind of move them this way and then hit them that way with the kick. Yeah, I mean, the kick is so powerful. It's just you don't see many people trying to catch it, and I know that it's such a hard kick. But if you watch this fight against Pechmarakot, I think that was Pechmarakot's like game plan was to keep catching his kick. Pechmarakot won that fight, but again, Yod was a little bit past it then. But yeah, when Yodsanklai was at his best, he was, being able to work at his own pace rather than being dictated to by somebody else, and just worked around one or two weapons. That's it. Even like Liam Harrison, he can do everything well, but his main thing is that he's got a really sharp left hook and his low kick. That's pretty much his main thing. Myself, when I started to fight, I had one fight which I won, but I got hurt in that fight, and then I had 2 losses straight after, and it was because I used to get so emotional before the fights and seeing it as a fight rather than as a game, which is what the fights are really. So I used to, like, I figured out that I could kick well, so I used to go to the gym every day for an hour and just kick the bag and like get it swinging, and then just keep kicking it and kicking it and kicking it, and I'll probably do a few hundred kicks on each leg a day. But then when it came time to fight, that was all I was doing, and I managed to win quite a lot of fights pretty much without really having to mix it up too much. So I didn't fight well with someone on top of me, when someone's really dictating the pace and making you, you know, like making you fight their fight. It was much better if I could slow it down and work at my own rhythm. Which is where someone like Buakaw, if you watch him fight, he's happy to go through the gears with you. Like if you want to step up the speed, he'll go with you. You know, he's a totally different kind of fighter like that. But yeah, Yodsanklai, very impressive. Is that the last round? I think so. Yeah, you can see, look, these two old friends. You know, a lot of respect between them. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, from Yodsanklai, what I think we can learn is you only need to be able to do one or two things really, really well, and you can have a great career. And you don't have to be in a war. You know, if you can get yourself to a point where your skills are winning the fights without you having to, you know, get into these crazy fights where you're walking away all bloodied up and everything, that's a good thing. You have a longer career if you're not covering scar tissue. Yeah. So yeah, if you're like me and you struggled with, you know, with that kind of like being dictated to and kind of being bullied into having these fights where you're having to fight at a rhythm where you're uncomfortable, one of the things that I'd recommend that you do is just drill like a high scoring technique. Some people it might be a long knee. If you're a tall guy, drilling a long knee for hundreds of reps a day if you can. For me it was kicks, you know, mostly my back leg, and then later on like I had a bit of a hip problem, so then I kind of did the same thing for my lead leg. But yeah, like, and you know, you can go a long way. You can score, you're scoring and you're damaging the other opponent. So that'd be my advice and what you can look at from Yodsanklai. If you want to go and look at some more Yodsanklai's fights, there are plenty of them online. And you'll just see the whole time he's just setting up that left kick and throwing it over and over and over again. People know that it's coming and they just can't deal with it. So yeah, what a great weapon that was for him. Right guys, I'll speak to you soon. I'm going to try and do another one of these videos tomorrow. Alright, see you soon.